Alright, we're going to continue talking and working with exponents. Now we're going to look at when we have to divide. Alright, so if we look to simplify these, looking at part A, we have 15 to the fourth divided by 15 squared. So if we write that out expanded, we have 15 times 15 times 15 times 15 all in the numerator. The denominator, we have 15 times 15. Now, if we were to simplify this, anything that's in the numerator that's the same as the denominator, we can cancel out or make a 1. So we have 15 over 15, that gives us 1. 15 over 15, that gives us 1. And look at what remains. Okay, so if we look at that, we have just 15 squared. Right, looking at part B, we have 4 squared times 4 to the third over 4 to the fourth. If we write this out in expanded form, we have 4 times 4 as part of it, and then we have 4 times 4 times 4, and then in the denominator we've got 4 multiplied by itself 4 times. If we look to simplify this, we can cross off anything that's the same in the top and bottom. So 4 divided by 4 is 1, 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 and look at what remains. We have just that. So our solution when we simplify this is just 4 or 4 to the first. Looking at part C here, in the numerator we've got n to the fifth. That means we've got n times n times n times n times n, all over n multiplied by itself 3 times. And if we look to simplify this, n divided by n is 1, n divided by n is 1, n divided by n is 1. Look at what remains. We have just n squared, so or 2n times n. So here we are with that simplified. Alright, looking at part D here, if we expand this out, in the numerator we have a squared, so that's a times a. We have b cubed, so that's b times b times b. In the denominator we have a divided by b. So if we look to simplify this, cross off anything that is the same in the numerator and the denominator. So a divided by a is 1, b divided by b is 1, and then we look at what still is there. We have a b squared. Alright, so now if we want to simplify these, looking at part A, we have 3 halves raised to the third power. So that means whatever's in the parentheses we can multiply by itself 3 times, so it's raised to the third power. So this part A is going to look like 3 squared times 3 squared times 3 squared. We multiply that across, we're going to have 3 times 3 times 3 in the numerator. In the denominator we have 2 times 2 times 2. So we will have 27 eighths. Looking at this next example, anything that's inside the parentheses in part B we can multiply by itself 2 times, so it's raised to the second power. So we have 2r over 3t times 2r over 3t. And when we do that, 2r times 2r, we'll have, you can kind of group them together. We have 2 times 2, and we have r times r. And then the bottom we have 3 times 3 and t times t. And when you simplify that, we have 4r squared over 9t squared. Okay, in part C here, the exponent is a 3, so we're going to take everything inside the parentheses and multiply by itself 3 times. So we're going to have 4m squared times n over 2m multiplied by 4m squared over times n over 2m, and then one more time. And I'm going to write the expanded form of each of these in the parentheses. So we have 4m times m over n over 2m, and each of these is going to be the same. So if we look to simplify in these here, we've got, well, 4 divided by 2, that simplifies to that. M divided by M, those simplify. And these actually are all the same, so I'm just going to quickly do that. And then look at what we've got that remains now. We've got 2m times m times 2m times m times 2m times m. And when you rearrange this here, we get 2 times 2 times 2, and then we've got all these m's multiplied by each other. That becomes 8. That becomes m to the 6th.